I love when coaches, consultants, and professional service providers want to do big things in their business. They want to rise to the top and influence their market and the world around them. They want to have a greater impact and make a more lucrative income. Well, if this is you, welcome to Expert in You Podcast, the show where I interview other experts and coaches, consultants, so that they can share their success strategies with you. We're going to talk about marketing and how to close more sales, how to get more premium clients, and how to really build your visibility in the market and scale your business like a boss. If this is you, welcome to the show. I want to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell right now so you don't miss one episode. Grab your coffee and buckle up because we are ready to give it all to you to help you become the expert and get paid as the expert that you are. Hi everyone, it's Carden here, and I want to welcome you back to another Expert in You podcast. I am so excited to have my guest this week, who is a true expert in his field. I have Terry Ogburn with us. And Terry, first of all, welcome to the show, and then I'll say what you do and who you are.
Well, thank you, Ann, so much for having me on your show as well. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yes, we're excited. So Terry is a business development expert and advisor, and he likes to call himself the CEO's go-to man. He just comes from so many years of experience. I'll have him share his story, but he works with a lot of CEOs in their organizations, their teams, and he's worked with some very heavy hitters in the business space. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but he is going to bring so much value to you in this episode. So I can't wait to dive in with him and let him just share what he knows and all of his experience. So Terry, why don't you just start by telling everyone a little bit about your backstory, how you got into what you're currently doing, and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. And thank you for such a great, gracious introduction there. That was really kind of you. So
you're welcome. You're the expert.
Well, thank you. Sometimes, as you're in the same space, sometimes it's just like we feel like we're just do what we're supposed to do. It's nothing hard. It's just get up and do what you do best. Enjoy. I think that's the most important part of anything is working from a joy space. If you enjoy what you're doing, to me, you'll never work a day in your life. But anyway, that's an old cliche. But anyway, getting to me, I was fired out of the car business, and I was kind of bouncing back and forth. I'd done some air conditioning as a trade. My dad wanted us to have a trade, and then I jumped into car sales. And I'd done really good with that. I was considered to be one of the top in the industry in a short time, and they fired me. And I woke up with no car, no nothing, because in the car business, you had a demo, you had something to drive and you didn't have to pay insurance and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I woke up with no transportation, but I lived in an apartment building, was going condo, and they had a broken furnace duct. So I could fix that. I knew that, so I could just charge a little bit of money, and I figured that'd give me a grub stake to get started. And that's how I started. I started my air conditioning company with $118.42. I specifically know that because that was it. I paid my rent. I paid everything. That's my that's grub staking it, man. That's putting it all out there on the line.
And how many years ago was this, Terry?
That would have been in March of 1979.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
So you learn as you first get all the mistakes you make and all the different things, all of us have done them. But you dust yourself off and go at it again. Many people said, oh, he'll never be in business 6 months. And you can imagine with no car or no truck and start an air conditioning business.
Right. That would be a bit tricky. Sure.
But you have that spirit in you. You're going to make it. You'll figure it out. You do whatever you have to do. So by 1983, I was nominated for Small Businessman of the Year for the Chambers of Commerce, thing. So I didn't win. A man by the name of Jim Walters won. But man, that guy was so far ahead of me. It was like I was so far behind him, I could barely see his taillight, so to speak.
Oh, what an honor, though. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was in the top 5. So I still felt pretty good about that.
Sure.
And then I teamed up some other people after that. And in 1984, I won Outstanding Young Businessman of the Year for the state of Florida.
Wow.
So this was for the whole state based on me building 2 calorimeter rooms. And it's a long story, but basically we could duplicate weather conditions, and where SCRs came about. So I was productive there and found out, if you're going to get in business, find one that's all messed up, get right in the middle of it, and you make a lot of money. And I did. I got in the middle of those.
I love it. I've never quite heard it said like that, but I love it. That's the truth.
Because all you got to do is figure out where, just a path, and which I did, which was customer service. And I think everybody anybody in business today, if they don't treat their customers as a boss, then man, they really do need to talk to one of us, because they're who pays, they're the ones that pays the bill. So we might as well listen to them and get direction from them.
Absolutely.
So, and I did that. And I would just tell just a little secret, not secret, but, when I would come to your house, I would, and you employed me to clean to work on your air conditioner. When I left, all the screws were put back in the holes, brand new ones. Mm-hmm. The unit was waxed, the slab was trimmed, all the grass was cut, all the zip tie wires were zip tied, all nice, neat. So that when your husband came home, you actually saw somebody had been there and done something. Mm-hmm. You might not know what I'd done, but it looked better than.
Yes.
So that kind of leaves the customer with a good feeling in them, that kind of thing. So we need to find those little things that we can do, a little extra added propositions to add value to what we do. And my rule is, if you take your product or service and you can add 10 times the value to that. So if I want to charge you $1,000, all I have to do is be able to produce $10,000 worth of value.
Yes. Great rule of thumb.
And you'll get business, forever and ever, so to speak. So I decided to sell to my employees, which is another thing that a lot of entrepreneurs and people who start businesses, they don't realize that the best profit they can make is through selling it to the employees. They have a vested interest. They know the ins and outs of it, and they'll pay more for it because it has a system. It has a process. It's making money already, not so they don't have to go and reinvent the wheel, so to speak. So I did that after 10 years, and that's a milestone in any business to run 10 years. So I did that. Prior to leaving the business, though, I did start helping small businesses, help with their getting them with the systems and processes, and then went into the corporate world. And then, as you mentioned, I worked with some pretty heavy hitters: Lynn Roberts, Jim Baggins, John Curran, some really heavy hitters, mentored me and pulled me under their wing and allowed me to be in some of these operations. John Curran started a at-home travel business where I was one of 5 people that put together an at-home travel agency company. Mm-hmm. We went public in 2.5 years. And who goes, an IPO in 2.5 years? There's a lot to learn from a dining room table to public in 2.5 years. And so then I was snapped up by Radio Shack and some of the bigger companies, do turnarounds for them, fix them, go in and apply my systems and processes to what they do. And I've done turnaround stores for Century 21, real estate, Radio Shack.
I told you, big heavy hitters. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I could probably spend the rest of our show telling you more things that I've done and situations I've been in. But basically, it's been go in, fix it. And one of the stores, Radio Shack stores, I was March, and I walked in, and the Christmas decorations were still up.
In March.
I went and got a disposable camera because I didn't want to be held accountable for this. This is way below what I signed up for.
Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. I know the things that go on in business that we just think, I know I've just thought so many times, common sense, where is it? Where is it? And customer service. And we see that a lot today. Customer service. If you find someone that gives good customer service or someone that cares about their customers or their clients, that is something that's a wow anymore. It's not the norm. It's the wow. I started in my air conditioning company. I did establish a thank you card policy. Now, it's pretty common today, but back then it wasn't. Mm-hmm. But I had these thank you cards that were, specifically designed with a football player on them that says, "Thanks for throwing the business my way." And every customer that spent any money with me got one. I don't care if it was just 25-cent washer, they got one. Mm-hmm. Well, you can imagine the mileage that you get for just something simple. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Just something like gratitude. Just, be grateful. My rule is with as far as your business should be, as far as customers, find them, keep them, and get them to spend more money. You got to prospect. You got to get out there.
That's business in a nutshell, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's how you build a business. Yes.
You keep them through good customer service. And if you really listen to what your customers are saying and the underlying things, when Mary Beth was my assistant I said, okay, Mary Beth, we're going to establish a policy. You're going to call every customer and you're going to find out how we did today. She said, I'm not making that phone call. And I said, why? She said, they're going to yell at me. And I said, well, then we need them to yell at you so that we'll find out what we need to know, what we need to do better.
Yes.
And she found it wasn't so bad, that people weren't yelling. They were appreciative of the call. Thank you for following up. Thank you for doing that. I would make this suggestion to you. Well, if there was anything we could do better, what would that be? Be on time. Whatever it was that you strive to listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, no, I love it. Those are really, really great takeaways for people because again, it's rare that people are doing that. So I do notice that a lot of bigger companies now have gone to the whole survey method and they are doing surveys. I don't know how much they're listening to them. I don't know how much they are paying attention to them because it doesn't seem like their service really gets better. But
no, it's a false pretense in most cases. I will say some of them do actually take the comment cards and really do them. But really, I work with a couple of companies that have this practice, and what they're looking is a satisfaction rate. They won't send them to everybody. They're only going to send them to the person that they think is going to give them a good rating. And then they get bonus. Their stores get bonus based on their 80% fan score rating or whatever it might be.
Right.
It's a game. But to do it sincere, like I was mentioning to you, finding little things like we had a policy that we put down, if we were in your house and we were working on your dishwasher, we had a mat that went down so that any of our stuff that fell went into this mat. Little things that, that take give the customer, they're going to clean up. Oh, they're going to be good, Yes.
Yeah. No, I love it. Those are such great points and great takeaways for really anyone that listens to this, whether you're a coach like me or, you're any other kind of business. Very, very important to understand that. So let's dive into some of your, besides the client service, customer service stuff that you really know, let's dive into some of the things that you really believe companies should have in place. And one of the things we talked about before we got on this podcast is we talked about the 8 things. You say the 8 core beliefs or the 8 things that every business should have in place. Do you want to talk about those a little bit?
Oh, sure. I think you're referring to, we were talking about an operations manual.
Yes.
I think that's what you were talking about. So standard operating procedures or whatever you want to call. But a lot of small businesses don't take the time, in my opinion, to do these things because, I've heard things like, well, Terry, I'm too small. I don't do. Well, to me, that's just, that's not how you run a business. You run a business out based on these 8 things. And if you develop a manual based on this, so you have to have what I call the development plan. This is just like a blueprint of how you're going to develop your business. I have an 8-step business development plan that is specific for that section. But you also have to have an action plan. What are going to be your action steps? And these are usually made up from your job descriptions of different people because if they perform, that's their action plan. Making out invoices and getting bills and paid and all that stuff. So we have to discern what are our job descriptions and those become our action steps. We also need to have we need to have these job descriptions written. Some people have said, oh, Terry, I'm too small. No. There's 15 positions in my company. There are 3 people in my company. We all have to do these 15 different things, but you need to know what those are so you can assign responsibilities to those. An organizational chart, my organizational chart is upside down. So I put my customer as at the top, and then I'm the bottom. I'm the CEO, so I'm at the bottom of the deal. So all things filter down to me. So I organize around functions and accountabilities, not people. So many businesses make the mistake of, Terry, you can't let go of that person. He's got 2 kids and, whatever. No. Are they being productive or they're not? Yes. That's the way it is. Then we should have a checklist for every job function that needs one. So in case you're out of the office or something comes in, they can go to a book and pull out and say, okay, this is how we make a deposit. Terry's not going to be here today, so here's how do we do this. Well, you pull out the slip, you just have it something that somebody can do and follow, very simple. We also need a budget and performance. And I think this is something that people have gotten away from as we move towards Quicken and QuickBooks and stuff. They forgot this part about forecasting. QuickBooks is good. I don't say that it is. It's a very good software program. However, depending on how we input our information, we could be up to 10 days behind schedule before we get a document produced.
That's a big problem too. And especially in small businesses, they are always running behind, or they depend on their CPA to tell them how their business is doing. Bad idea.
And one of the things that I, caution people around, remember, CPA stands for past accounting. Yes. I'm not taking anything away from the CPAs. We need them, but they can only
They're not the future. That's right.
So we need to, I was on a mastermind group and so the lady brought a problem to the table. And I said, well, my advice to her was she had a seasonal business. And so I said, well, take and figure out how much it's going to cost you to run your business for 1 year, add 30% to that. Take in your birthday presents, your Christmas, all that. Take every possible expense that you can think of, business, personal, whatever. Add 30% to that, and then decide how many packages you have to sell in that 4 or 5 month window. And then save your money and move on. That's forecasting, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then each week you can look at it and say, okay, well, I'm ahead of schedule, behind some, you can spot things that are there. Right. Then we need a policy and procedures manual. How do we handle people? How do we handle conflict? How do we resolve these issues as we start to grow? We're going to have more and more conflict. So we need to have systems in place to resolve that. And then we need a direct marketing plan. I'm not a big fan of mass marketing because we're too sharp today. We don't need to do all this mass mailings and all this mass emailings and things. Target your market. I guess most people would probably realize that if I'm going to target all the Mercedes-Benz owners, I could have that data.
Yes.
I don't need to go out and a friend of mine has the Domino's account and he gets all the information from all over the United States. So you order a pizza, it goes into his computer and he mails from Tampa, Florida. He mails out all the coupons to all over the world and it's all data driven back in Tampa. Even has his own post office little kiosk right there in his building. And then we have to have a social media marketing plan. So, and again, we have to have a social presence. Even though we may not get a lot of business from social media, I don't get a lot of business from social media because you have to build rapport. You have to build trust with people. Everybody says they're going to sign up with you. So, but we do have to have a presence so people can look at us and go back and check, see what our brainchilds are. So if we take into those things and we put that together and it's all, out there for us to grab, then it makes it, we can duplicate it. And we could take it and open it up down the street. We could sell it as a licensing concept. We can put our brother-in-law in charge of it in Florida. There's just so much you can do when it has a system.
Yes. I love that you're talking about all these things because I've sold a lot of businesses. You've sold a lot of businesses. And the things that have allowed me to do that is the fact that they were turnkey. Somebody could just walk in, take them over. Everything was there. The people were still going. And it also allows you to get away from the business, have freedom from the business. At one time I was running 4 of them, so I couldn't be in all 4 at the same time. And you have to have those things in place. And I think you're right. There are too many people that don't think like that. They just create a job and there's just no structure to their business. And that isn't something that's ever going to be really successful, really sustainable, or that you will be able to sell.
Exactly. And just like you said, I think a mistake is made when people want, like calling it Terry's air conditioner, air conditioning or something like that, or Terry's sweet shop or whatever you want to call it, because now you can't leave. Yes. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Where's Terry? I can, where's Ann? The place is going to hell in a handbasket.
Build the business around you. And then, there's no freedom. I will say, though, my coaching business is a bit like that, but I'm in a different stage in my life and I have very different goals with my coaching business than I did with the others. I knew I wanted to sell the others. So that was
you're right. I'm not selling Terry. I'm not selling TerryOgburn.com. We don't have to worry about that.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think this is, I don't think I have many more hurrahs in me, but I could do this until, time passes, so, but it's still good to create yourself. One of the things I learned about taking that company public was it was a franchise. And so, better than 70 cents of every dollar we spend goes to a franchise.
Right.
You, me, everything, whatever, that's the way it goes. So I don't know if you realize this, but in franchising, you're monitored by the Federal Trade Commission. And the rule is that if your business has a better than a 2% failure rate, you're not going to be recommended to purchase, because there's too many more opportunities that are out there where your money is safer.
That's interesting. I didn't really know those numbers, but that's interesting. And you did work a lot in the franchise space
everywhere
as an advisor and selling franchises at one point, right?
Radio Shack, for an example, was a franchise concept. And this is how they made their mistake was they sold the franchise, which is a lot of times companies will do that. They will get their grub stake money by selling, getting people to buy into their program. And then, so that's what they would do. They would get them and they could use their banners, their names and all that kind of stuff. But the problem was that the people they were selling franchises to didn't know how to run the business any better than they did.
Right.
So then you don't let a franchise go upside down or fail, because then that has to be in your offering circular, which says it's a part of your failures. So the corporation would buy them up. So they become corporate stores. Well, again, they didn't know how to run them. So that was back in the 90s, when the late 80s, early 90s, when Radio Shack was going right straight down. It was 5,000 stores headed for a plummet into the ground.
Crazy. Yes.
They brought in the CEO from Shoney's, not another Radio Shack concept, not another technology firm, brought in a hamburger flipper
to fix it.
He turned it around in less than 3 years. We all cashed out early, and we all were very proud of what had happened. And, I received residuals from that for many, many years. But there's all kinds of mistakes that you make in franchising. But anyway,
you also make a good point that I would like to bring up. And one of the things working with small business owners as a coach and everything for so many years, the one thing that I used to always tell small business owners when they would say, have you ever run an HVAC? Have you ever owned an HVAC company? And I would say, no. What does that have to do with anything? Because when you can bring strategies and concepts and ideas from other industries, it's the most powerful. Like, that's where the best ideas come from. That's where a lot of times the biggest growth comes from. It's not doing the same thing everybody in your industry is doing. It's thinking outside the box. It's bringing in new things and new ways of doing things that can really move the needle. And so it's interesting that you said they brought in Shoney's and he was able to turn it around, because what they were doing was only getting them so far. So that's an important thing for anyone to know. Don't be so in a box and think, oh, your industry has the only way, or, what are the only ways to do things. That is not the case. The best things come from outside the box.
Exactly. In my world, I call that you go into adolescence behavior. Because if you think about any teenager, they know everything. Right. So
that's a great way to put it.
We get into this. Well, I think in all reality, our businesses are just really adult daycares. And I don't mean it rudely. I'm just
that's
right.
Really true.
So the more organization we have, the more systems we have in place, the better our business
daycare runs. That's right.
I have a thing that I impose in any business that I work with. Study what others do and do it better.
Yes.
This comes from Sun Tzu, the famous Chinese warrior. He would study his enemy before he ever attacked them.
Right.
He'd know where their weaknesses is. He may sneak up on them at 3 o'clock in the morning while they were sleeping, because that was his best opportunity.
Yeah. That is actually gold, Terry, right there. You should understand that. Too many people are they are really afraid of being cutting edge, being different, again, stepping beyond what everybody else is doing. And that's where the gold is. I mean, that's really where the most success is.
And if you think about something real quick, everything around us was started here in our brain. It started here, and then it was put on a piece of paper. In fact, one of my mentors said to me one time, said, "Terry, everything that we have right now at one point was a lie." That's what he talked about. He says, "Oh, you and I are going to be talking on a camera, and we're going to be miles apart. Oh, that'll never happen." Here we are, miles apart.
How about the Dick Tracy watch?
Yeah, it's here.
Series like what?
So we have to get into that outside of our comfort zone and get into the learning zone. Yeah. We get to learning zone, then we get to growth zone. So that's one of my other philosophies there too. I can give your listeners 4 things right now, if you would like. I can give them 4 things. If they'll do these 4 things, they'll be successful at anything they want. I don't care whatever it is. You ready?
Share away.
Number 1 and most important is commitment. Be all in. If that means burn the boats, don't do it halfway, don't put your toe in the water. I mean, just really, if it's a project, if it's an advertising thing, whatever it is, be committed to do it and stay with it.
Do it or don't.
Right, exactly. Get in or out. There's no playing around here.
I totally agree.
And once we understand the commitment, then we have to have true determination. We have to be determined. So that means we got to do the extra efforts, run the extra mile, get up the extra, whatever it has to be to make sure that we accomplish our commitment. And then third is we have to put disciplines in place. Now, this means alarms or special ringers on our cell phones so we don't answer phones that we don't need to. I give everybody in this category, permission to procrastinate on anything that's not taking them to their goals. So right now, every one of your listeners can procrastinate on anything they want, as long as it's not taking away from their goals. And then the last is the one most people miss, and that's be a visionary. See, we have to visualize. We think in pictures. So if I ask you right now to think of your dentist, you're not going to think of his office. You're going to think of the person's face. That's how we identify. So the more pictures that we have, the more that the law of attraction kicks in, or the law of opportunity kicks in, so we can spot the things that we want. So you make a combined effort on all 4 of those things, you'll never miss on anything that you undertake.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Brilliant, and such great takeaways for people. And I think we could almost just end on that, because that was so good. That was just so good. So, Terry, this has just been such a pleasure. Where would you like people to go to connect with you? Or do you have any kind of a giveaway or anything that you would like to share?
I do, Ian, and thank you for offering this. And I thought about it, and I've got to, first of all, you can reach out to me through terryogburn.com. Very simple, terryogburn.com.
And he's on LinkedIn. You can find him on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I love LinkedIn. But you can reach out to me there. And while you're there, you can get my free ebook. I have a ebook that is Success is Always Within Reach. And it's very small. It's only a few pages. It's not like you got a novel there. It's just a few success tips on how to, how to take your business to new levels. And then while you're there, they can just sign up for a free hour consultation with me.
Very nice.
No charge, no sales pitch, nothing. They have a challenge. We're going through a lot of challenges right now. So you may want to just reach out to me and just have me just sit down and go over a challenge. Let's brainstorm over something and see if we can't, have a breakthrough on that. So I'm offering that to kind of help us all get back to this United States, get back on track. We need to get back, to making, a nice, warm world where we can all feel safe and make money, type thing.
Yeah. And the other thing too, and I love that you're sharing those things, and thank you so much for sharing that with my audience. The other thing too, though, and I know you're a believer of this, I'm a believer of this. We still have opportunity. Money is still out there. Things are still moving. People are still buying. So even though there are shifts and there are things going on, and, we're in a so-called recession and it's going to get worse, and all the doom and gloom that's out there, there are still wealth is built in recessions. There's no shortage of opportunity. But those 4 things that Terry just named can help you be able to rise above and still be successful, even in hard times. I always say, create your own economy.
Can I just share one thing for just topping that there?
Absolutely.
We have to, I have a general contractor, and he's been in business for 23 years, and we've been together for several years. And through this pandemic, you can imagine that his construction business basically has gone away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what we did is we restructured him. Instead of his construction company being his main income stream,
Mm-hmm.
now we're getting him to be a developer. So he's going out and buying land and property so he can use this construction company as a tool now rather than an income stream.
Yes.
So there's always ways to do it.
Always.
I work with the number 1 boating company in the United States, and they don't have any inventory. So think about that. So here's an organization been built to sell boats. There's no boats. So we've had to re-engineer the corporation. We have had to re-engineer all 70 stores and really go through and really find new ways to get boats across the curb, because you got to order them now. And
Right.
you got to keep them online. You got to keep them going. You got to keep them engaged. So
Right.
there's opportunities everywhere. We just got to be swimming up the stream.
Yes.
And
Yes.
one of the videos that I use is the Kentucky Derby. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you want to watch it, it's just a minute of the race,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see the horse actually moving through the horses, not going on the outside, not going on the inside. He's kind of maneuvering. And that jockey is pulling those reins just so that he moves the horse just
Yes.
right as he. And that's what we need to do now, is we need to be swimming upstream instead of letting all this avalanche hit us.
Right. Oh, great takeaways. So great insights, and just, oh my goodness, you shared so much. Thank you. Thank you for being my guest, and just sharing all of that expertise and those many, many years of experience that you have. So I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you too, Ann, for having me here, and I've enjoyed it. And I think we did have a really coffee.
Yes, yeah, that's always my goal. That's my goal.
Okay.
Get the experts together and have some fun.
Exactly.
So it's been a pleasure. And everyone, please connect with Terry. He's on LinkedIn. We'll put all of his information in the show notes so that you can reach out to him. Go get his ebook. If you want to have a strategy call with him, you could clearly hear he is an expert at what he does, and you will not go wrong. So thank you for listening to another episode of Expert in You. And until next week, God bless you all. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye. If you've enjoyed this episode, I want to invite you to go check out a free training that I have at expertinu.us. It is a training that I have on how you can get ultra premium dream clients, scale your business, get more freedom, and really simplify your business and multiply your money. So go check that out. And again, that is expertinu.us. I want to thank you for being here with me this week. I hope you found massive value. Please always leave a comment, feedback, or a question. We check them all. And I want you to go rock your business, and make sure you join us again next week. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.